Hey guys, welcome back and thanks for tuning in. Today we're looking at a weapon light. This is the Nextorch WL10 Executor light. Works like this. Press it down, turn it off. And it's sitting on top of this rail on my 1911. The rail is called the Recover Tactical CC3 rail and grip for 1911. We're going to talk all about that in another video, but I thought I'd address this flashlight first. Nextorch did send this to me for review. I've been anxious to get it out and play with it. Finally have some time tonight. I'm going to take it out and put a good 50 or so rounds through this 1911. This is the TSOS 1911, very GI type of 1911, very basic as you can see there. I took this out and shot it with Hank Strange down in Florida a while back, and it's a great 1911, or at least in my experience it is so far. But let's go ahead and shoot that WL10 Executor and see how that does in identifying and getting onto different targets. I've got some targets out here around 7 or so yards. That's perfect in my opinion for the type of engagements you want to get into, or you'd potentially get into with a 1911 in your home on a rail, and that's kind of the idea behind this whole system in the first place. So let's go ahead and engage with some of this steel out here and see how this light does. And we'll talk all about it in a moment. And we've lost the light, and it's back on. I think I might have put my finger on it or something. Maybe I bumped it, not really sure. But we'll go ahead and play with it some more and see what happens. And we're locked back. All right, except for that one little bobble, which I still can't really explain, seems to be doing okay. Another 8-rounder. Let's try a little bit of quick acquisition, turning it on the way up from ready. Works pretty good. Lock back once more. Got a 10-rounder now. See how it behaves. Come on. There you are. Got it on the last round. That's satisfying. So that's 4 mags worth. And that light is holding up okay. We did have it switch off at one point. Not sure what that's about. It's still locked onto that rail nice and tight. Doesn't feel like it wants to come off at all. Now I figured if I'd put this on my 1911 and it did okay, it should be just fine for some 9mm, 40s, and whatever. So what I'm seeing so far is that it's doing all right. We might put a few more magazines through it just to confirm, but as of right now, I'm happy with the performance. Hate missing my last shot, but we're going to take a break there. So, what can we say about this light? 230 lumens is what it's rated at. That's what it's advertised as providing you. That's pretty nice and bright. And as you could probably see, I hope you could see in the camera, it's illuminating my targets very well. Now, you may not be able to see this as well as I can in the work that I'm doing here, but that target way out there, that is actually very, very easy for me to see. This light is throwing out to, that's easily 25 yards away, that target out there, maybe 30 or so. I'm hitting it fairly consistently, missing some of the time obviously, but I'm able to identify it every time, and that's huge. So 230 lumens, nice and bright, and it is pumping out the juice. How does this thing operate? Well, let's go ahead and show you what's on the inside of it. We'll go ahead and take it off the gun, roll it off that way, and it just slides right off your rail, just like that. So the quick attach system that it has there, that is patented. That's Nextorch's connection system, and it's pretty quick and pretty easy. It does slide on and off the Picatinny like I showed you, and then just tensions with that little dial that kind of rotates and pushes that bar up into the Picatinny slot, forcing it to not only not slide back and forth, but also be rock solid in place. And it locked in there very tight from the use that I was putting it through. Turning it on and off is very simple. You've got these switches right here on the back, and they are, as you can tell, ambidextrous. So you push that in, that turns the light off. Push it in again, turns the light on. Now, it's also worth noting that if you don't want to do a full press, a half press will give you a momentary on, so that you don't have to click it. So if you're just trying to, let's say, make your way around the house and determine whether there's a thread or not, you don't want to make any clicking sounds as you're doing that, a little press, a little half press will give you a momentary on. That works very well, and it's extremely bright. It's also important to note that there is a lock feature on here, so that will lock that out and make it so that if you rotate that just a little bit, like so, makes it so that light will not switch on or off. So you can have that on your light the whole time if you don't want anybody to mess with it, or you don't want that battery to potentially drain. You go ahead and lock it so that it can't turn on or off. Then when you're ready, you go ahead and twist it till it's tight, and it comes on and off just like it's supposed to. Speaking of that head right there, that is how you get the battery out or replace it. And what does it take? It takes a single CR123 battery. There it is, it's a Duracell, and that works just fine. You can use your Streamlight or any other brands of CR123 that you have out there, and there are dozens and dozens of them. Now, this is not limited as a pistol light. It's a little awkward to use as a rifle light, but you can put it on one. I had it on my AK earlier just to play around and see how it did. It switched on and then stayed on. It wouldn't switch off due to the force of being fired through or anything like that. It just stayed on and kept burning. It's a little, like I said, kind of awkward to use in that position because it is meant to be kind of pushed down from that, with that index finger as you're riding alongside the trigger guard. You press that down and switch it on like so. That's how it's meant to work. So if you have it on a rifle, let's say on this side, what I need to do is actually get my thumb and press outward to turn it on, and that will actually activate it that way. So it's a little awkward. It's, maybe more natural to push in if you're trying to turn a light on, but if you get used to it, pulling it out would work just as well. Again, probably just a training issue. It's very lightweight, coming in at just 2.6 ounces, so it doesn't add much to your gun. If you decide to make this some sort of a duty light, and you could do that, it won't add a lot to your carry, and that's very useful. I would say the best thing about this light is the price. 45 bucks is what this comes in at. Now, I've paid $100 or so for some of those Streamlight weapon lights that are good, and you can spend a ton more than that on Surefire and other weapon lights out there. But this Nextorch one seems to be doing just fine, pumping through some 45 and even shooting some 7.62 by 39 earlier. I gotta say, I haven't put hundreds and hundreds of rounds through guns wearing this, but in the little bit of use that I put it through today, I'm impressed. I think it works great, and I don't see any downside to spending $45 on this as a weapon light. Seems like it's gonna hold up great. So that's my little review on it and little test. I'm the Late Boy Scout. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks again to Nextorch for sending this one my way. We'll see you guys on the next one.